My name is Devin Alvarado. I was born in Queens, New York. I am a dungeon master and a player in D&D 5e. I started Dungeons & Dragons about 2-3 years ago. I started playing it because there's a YouTube channel that goes over monster details and the lore of it, and I just got really into it for a long time and decided I wanted to try it out. 2-3 years later, here I am now. A lot of lost sanity and dead brain cells because of it, but you know, it's enjoyable. My biggest inspiration would probably Matthew Mercer. Not just because of the Matthew Mercer effect, just because I loved how involved his characters got, players I should say, with their characters and the story. And I loved how he was able to keep them in the game the whole time. Like a lot of times players kind of drift off, they'll do a little on their phones, whatever. He always seemed to be able to keep their attention, and the stories he told were just amazing. And it really made me want, that's what made me want to DM. To play, I like fantasy, so the reason I wanted to be a player, big inspiration for that was just Lord of the Rings, Aragon, anything fantasy-like. I was just like, I want to try to be that. The most important aspect of Dungeons & Dragons, I'd have to say, is cooperation. It is not a single-player game. It is a game where everyone has to work together towards a common goal or goals. So that really helps, I feel, at least in Dungeons & Dragons, the most important, the cooperation part helps make the game alive. If you make it all about you, you're gonna have fun, but you might as well just write a book. Best moment as a DM I've ever had was, it was in my very first homebrew campaign. I have a world where it's like a monster races live there, and one of my former characters in another campaign, through different means, became Satan. I had my characters were in this country that he like runs, but no one knows he exists. So they ended up meeting him, and he liked to play a game. And so what he did with each of them is he put them through their absolute worst nightmare that ended in them dying. Like, it was either their character, like father, was like, they wanted his approval and they were disapproving of him, or whatever their different fears were. And then right afterwards, he's like, okay, I'm gonna give you all a boon, but you have to perform for me. And then the session after they met him, there was a karaoke session. Everyone had to sing, and it was amazing. I loved it so much. One of the players was like a great singer, and he like just, everyone was like, he should go first. Like, no, he should go last. Let him be the big, you know, ensemble, the rise and fall of everything else. And I heard people sing. It was amazing. It was so much fun. The session before, they're like, we're all gonna die. And the session rest like, oh, we're all having a great time. I was like, that is what I live for. My best moment as a player was, I was actually a co-DM for my friend Peter. He just had me do a couple NPCs, help him out a little bit because it was a big game of like 12 or 14 of us. And I made a character called Nico Solas. And throughout the game, we ended up in the floating city of the Gif Yankee. I love dragons. That's my, like, one of the big reasons I play Dungeons & Dragons is because there are dragons in the name of it. And so I was like, I want a red dragon because I knew the Gif ride them. And through a couple interactions, I ended up with a red dragon. I cast a spell to make it into a adult red dragon. And Peter's like, cool, it's still a child. So I had an adult red dragon with the brain of a like young wormling, and it was just amazing how annoyed I got at this thing because it would just try to eat everything. And everything was a toy, and I didn't think any better, so I was like, alright, I'm gonna make it ancient. And I made it even bigger and stronger, and it did not help the situation at all. And it was amazing, the things that happened with that. My worst moment as a DM, I'd have to say, there's a couple. My worst moment as a DM is one time I had made a ruling, and a player called me out on it. Started arguing with me over it. I forget what the ruling was. It was something along the lines of, his ability should work this way, but I thought it was too broken, so instead of talking to it, again, it was my fault. I should have had this conversation beforehand, but he started arguing with me at the table, and then he starts being passive aggressive, and I put my foot down. I was like, listen, you don't like it, you can get out. Like, and it ruined the rest of the game for me that night. My worst moment as a player actually happened recently. I was playing again in my friend Peter's campaign, and we're all new adventurers, and I'm playing a druid, first time I'm doing it. And I'm like, I'm all about loving life, but I also believe in death and reincarnation. I'm playing a wildfire druid. We're at this, like, forgotten lab or something along those lines. And there's, like, this creature that's been, like, transformed through magic and is just suffering. So I'm talking to it, and I'm trying to, like, calm it down, and, like, someone touches a magical item and it freaks out. And I'm trying to calm it, and then they kill it. So I was like, you know, what the hell? Like, life is precious. You know, you can't be doing that. Fine, I let it pass. Then we meet a beholder. Or I think it was a beholder. We were asking it questions, and then it like couldn't answer them, but we forced it to answer us, and it started dying because of its master. And so I go to heal it, and another player kills it in the middle of me healing it. And I just looked at him and was like, I'm done. like, I can't adventure with you all. And my character left. It was the first time ever, like, my character looked at him and said, I can't adventure with you all. You're all animals and you have no love of life. And he walked out. I had a whole new character made, everything. And one of the players, like, brought me back in. He's like, listen, we have this job and we really need your help. So I'm still in the campaign, but it was bad. It was not only that, the players were yelling at each other, talking over each other. No one was getting respect, and it was just a bad time. It was so bad that the DM had to put his foot down and say, you guys have to stop. Like, that's when you know getting too bad, when your DM looks at you all and says, you guys have to stop what you're doing, or I'm not going to continue. So that's probably the worst I've been through. Yeah, it's not fun times. So every game has its good moments, every game has its bad moments. You gotta enjoy both of them. I'm still playing the character. Peter, you're probably gonna see this at some point. But my biggest problem with now is when I did that and I walked away, he walked away, I disconnected from the character. So now I'm in the process of trying to reconnect the love I had when I made it, and it's not happening. I'm like, really, really want to. I can't. And then I'm like, and now I want to play a new character, but I don't like being the guy like, I want to build a new character just because this and this. Like, I'd rather he die, or if there's some profound reason why he leaves. Not just, I'm not enjoying it, I want to play something else. So that's what I'm going through right now. I do see the world a little different as a dungeon master. As a dungeon master, I look at the different possibilities the world can have. Does it have to follow the laws of nature? Does it have to follow the laws of physics? Does it have to rotate on this axis or that axis? It's part of the creativeness that you get, the creative freedom you get as a DM. I can literally say, you walk upside down, and you have to abide by it because it's the rules I set. So I look at it as, what do I want the players to experience, and what do I want the world to give them that experience? So I want the world to be very harsh and nasty, and there's a constant fight for survival. So I want it to be super overflowing with life, and everything just works together in a perfect ecosystem. So I look at it a little bit differently each time I go through the world. Even sometimes in the world I have established, I'll go midway through it and just change it up to fit what I think it should fit now. What keeps me motivated is the people. You make so many funny memories, so many great memories as a player at the table. If you're playing it right, you get emotionally invested, and when things happen for your character or happen to them, good or bad, you get almost like a rush, a euphoria, like, wow, this is the effort I put into this imaginary character that's really happening. As a DM, this is going to sound weird, but some of my favorite things to do to a player is make them cry, but not in a bad way. Not like I do something so terrible to your character that they just cry. It's more of, example, Matt, our good friend Matt, is a player in my old campaign I just finished a month ago. And he met one of my characters, Nico Solas, and they ended up being a friendship or through a couple interactions. And it came to a part where the party accidentally released a Tarrasque on the world, and they had no way to stop it. They're like level 12 or 13. They were like nowhere near stopping this creature. And they're trying to fight it off, and Nico shows up, and he can't even stop this thing. And he's like over level 20 character with a great worm, red dragon, and they're just going at it. And he sacrificed himself. He basically just ends his whole existence, soul and everything, erases his soul with a Tarrasque. And before he goes up to Matthew's character's name was Scion, and he goes, "You have to guide them where no one else can." And he hands him his staff, which he's had with him for hundreds of thousands of years at this point, or hundreds of years, however old I made him. And he hands it to him and says, "Be their strength when they can't, because they're gonna come to rely on you." And then he just vanishes. And I watched this man just break down in front of me, and it was just like this great feeling of, wow, he really enjoyed my game so much at this house. I've also made our friend Peter cry through a campaign. I do an epilogue at the end of my campaigns where everyone gets to tell me what they want to do, how they want their character to end up. And his character name was Lacoste. He was like 80-something-year-old human. And he sets up this whole intricate spy net and all this other stuff. And eventually she dies because she just gets old. And so I do this beautiful funeral with her. I play Sadness and Sorrow from Naruto in the background. She's being paraded through the streets, and all her friends are there, all her loved ones. And it's just a beautiful moment. I just look at him, he's like crying on the side. I was like, for me as a DM, I love to see my players happy, but I find when they're showing tears of either joy or sadness, it just shows they're more connected to your world, and you were able to give them something that normally they wouldn't get in a game. I had a player that the whole time, we were doing a one-shot, they were fighting a black dragon, and they're sadistic, so the whole time in the fight, the dragon was just trying to drown him the whole time, and he was so upset with me afterward. He's like, "Damn it, why does it keep drowning me?" I'm like, it's just sadistic, it finds pleasure in it, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. He was playing this badass cleric, I was like, cool. And he would come up with all these ideas, he's like, "I'm out," and the dragon's like, That's fun times.
Oh god.
Yes, I'm a little mischievous as a DM. Boiled down Dungeons and Dragons philosophy. Oof. Let your imagination flow in a cooperative setting, and everyone will grow. A rising tide raises all boats. So that's one I've actually learned through martial arts and stuff like that. Basically, if you help lift everyone up, you will also lift up. So be cooperative with your players, your DM. You know, don't be that guy. No one likes that guy. Be the guy that helps everyone rise and enjoy this game, and you'll have so much more fun with it. So my name is Devin Alvarado. Thank you for watching Dreambird. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you get to see all the new videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.